Chris,
Yes.
let's talk about this briefly, because now we've
Sure.
got 3 of these things in the wild, right? Brooksy's got one, and Andy's got one, and I've got one.
Or will have.
So So the first thing, I guess, I'll just say is its main purpose in life is to add features to the Behringer 182 sequencer. So that's why you invented it, really, isn't it? That was its main.
Correct.
But it probably could be used in other ways that doesn't require a 182. It just probably requires a clock and some sort of CV and gate manipulation. However, I'd say it would probably be, you'd have to kind of know what you're doing to be able to do that, because one of the things that it does is it uses this left-hand side to do your CV tuning, right, your frequency, and it uses the right-hand side when it's in parallel mode, right? It uses the right-hand side to determine whether you have a ratchet, a mute, if it's right up the top here. It's very hard for you guys to see, but I'm just moving that. Can you guys see that clearly? So you can see the top notch on that is pointing directly to 12 o'clock, right? And then if I move that to the left, that then becomes a single gated sort of thing. So if I show that, let's get rid of the C legs now so we can just hear it. If I was to move this now into ratchet mode, any one of these that you see is to the right of 12 o'clock will ratchet, and any one to the left will be a normal gate, right? And any one of these that's at 12 o'clock will be muted. So let's mute a few. So that's actually really cool. So what he's done is he's gone, I can actually use this as a control input source. And that's why you've got the CV input on here, right? Because this is literally controlling that part of the logic of his module. The different modes, Chris, just want to sing through these. So that's purple, right? The next one is...
Yep.
What mode's the next one?
Orange, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's an orange, yeah.
I've got the manual open.
I got it here.
Yeah, so that is a... Yeah.
Next one's orange. It's complex and random.
Yeah.
Complex and random,
Yeah.
Yep.
Talk about that a little bit. So these two knobs do what?
Just hang on a sec. Fortunately, I bring up an old PDF which had the old layout of these. Of course I would do
Chris,
that, wouldn't I?
Do you want me to send you the current one then?
No, if you could just give me a couple of minutes.
I'll just read what it says here. It's complex and random
Yeah.
is a duo gate and ratchet mode. It creates random elements of gate and ratchets. So your CV input is here somewhere, right? Your CV1 input is gate offset, okay? So that you would be controlling the gate offset with this row of potentiometers here. And then your CV2 would be the gate, mult, and divider switch knob. And then these two knobs you'd have, this is your gate division and ratchet, okay? And this one here is your independent fixed clock divider. So the more you go to the right, the more divisions, right? The more you to the left. I think there's a spot where is it to the top or slightly to the left? I forget which one it is. It doesn't divide at all, right? It's just one.
Yeah,
so there.
Not one is division by one, so it's clock in, clock
right
out.
at the top, yeah. And then as you go all the way around, like 360 until you get back to there, so it just keeps dividing all the way. This is something that I didn't work out until just, like, don't forget, I've only had this for like 24 hours, basically.
Is clockwise multiply and anti-clockwise
clockwise divides all the way until you get right back around. So it just goes. So technically, right? So if you go to the left, if you go to the left, you're going to the most highest division. But if you go to the right, you're starting at the lowest division, and then you're slowly increasing as you go clockwise around.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that I.
Trills you get, the number of the trills in the ratchet, the number of beats in the ratchet.
Yeah.
The top one is what you use to
that's your
set
ratchet
the bass, your ratchet there, and depending on that's the other thing as well. Of course, is this is just the first two modes.
Yeah.
There's another six modes which do totally different things.
Bernoulli gate, right?
Bernoulli gate, I was told.
Bernoulli, yeah. Which is a 1 to 8 clock shuffle. On that position, 1 to 8 clock shuffle. So what am I getting out of this? On my left side, that's my CV, that's my pitch. On my right side, I'm getting the gate multiplier. Right, probability.
Is it probability? Sorry, hang on. Bernoulli gate mode.
It says gate multiplier.
Step and mute. Yep, no, that's gate length. Then, step and mute. So.
Yep. So that's still the same.
No,
and then
it's different.
CV2 is the probability.
Sorry, CV2. Well, CV2 is always hooked up to the 182's second channel.
Yeah.
I almost shouldn't put it on the chart, actually, because you almost always have it plugged in that way. But
all right, do you want to try this?
Thoroughness.
Shall we give this a go?
Yeah, sure.
So this is all literally probability. So why don't let's do a 4. I think 4 would probably be an easy one to sort of work out that where's 4?
Does the Bernoulli gate work like mutable branches? Is this some kind of Bernoulli gate?
The Bernoulli gate only. Actually, yes, it is definitely. Yeah, probability of the step. Yep, correct. So the further you turn it right, the higher the probability with 100% to the right, setting 100% all the time, will play that note, and all the way to the left will never play that note. So yeah, it's pretty much the same as branches.
Okay. So left is like least probability, right is more probability, right?
Correct, yeah.
So if we just concentrate on, say, step 6 here, right? It's almost hitting it every time, but then it missed it then. Yeah, cool, nice. I like it. I like it a lot. So there you go,
This is going to so expand the capabilities of that 182.
Yeah,
this is brilliant, Chris.
It is amazing, isn't it?
Oh, cheers. No, the random stuff took a bit of time to sort of get my head around what would actually be musically interesting, but it didn't take long to test it and find out, because you go, okay, I'm just standing back here. That's creating music for me. Yeah, which is what you want really with any kind of randomization.
Yeah, I actually bought just to create, play with it.
Just to turn it from being like I'm listening to a machine to I'm listening to some entity doing something, and it suddenly comes to life.
Now, the other one that really kind of piqued my ears was the full burst mode one, which is I'm skipping a couple of modes here, so I'll quickly go back.
Green mode.
Let me just quickly mention the other two modes first. So the next one is red mode, which is rest and hold, which is basically like a clock shuffle with rest and hold. Then you've got
it's actually variable step length.
Yeah,
the red and cyan are both variable step length.
So this one is rest and repeat.
Yep.
And then
so instead of holding a note, it repeats the note.
Yep. And then the next one is the full burst mode, which is the one that really interested me. Now, can you just explain it? Because I kind of don't really know how to explain this, but your video was really cool. So go explain this one.
Okay, so the in full burst mode, the two dials, the two orange dials, the top dial controls how long your sequence will play for before it ceases to play, and the second dial controls how long to rest for before playing it again.
Yeah. Now,
so basically, orange knob, then the top orange knob plays, and the bottom orange knob rests. The top knob plays, the bottom one rests, and so on and so forth.
So we get that.
Still processing the steps,
Yeah. So we get that, but what you would use this for, right? So what you would use this for, which I think is actually really, really genius. This is genius. and that is that you've got
Thanks.
a whole bunch of stuff sequenced, right, in your gear. You've got drum sequence. You might have a nice little arpeggiator going. You might have something else sequenced through a proper step sequencer, and then you might want to just send off a little burst of sequenced notes, but then stop, right, whilst everything is still going, right? But that is kind of what this does. It sends off a burst of sequenced notes and then rests, and that you can control how long the rest is and how many notes it bursts off, which is just genius. It's really, really cool. I guess the easiest way to demonstrate it is to have a drum machine just playing in the background, so you can hear that just beating away, and then this thing starting and then stopping and having a rest and then starting and stopping on some sort of interval, right? So what would you set this to? Let's just get this. Let's get these knobs in the right spot. What would you set them to?
Right. So the first one, I'm just checking if that's in full burst mode. It's in beats. So the numbers are beats. So one beat is like 4 steps.
Yeah.
Or
So one.
If you're in,
I'm in 1 now.
So So if you set it to say 2, that would play the whole sequence
8 steps.
from the 182 through, and then if you set the second one to also 2, then it'll not play it for a whole 8 steps.
Cool. You give it a go.
So that'll should get you pretty typical sort of.
Just turn the drums on. Probably should bring these all over.
Yeah. So is it all the way over or full burst mode? Rest and hold. So
right.
Yeah, that's now in full rest mode. So perhaps try the 12 o'clock positions.
Top positions. So 12 o'clock?
Yeah, 12 o'clock, I reckon. Yep.
All right, let's get this thing. Let's get this thing waiting a bit longer, right?
It's playing the sequence, yeah. Set it longer, gaps in between.
2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. How cool is that? And you can make it even longer and longer and longer.
So you're humanizing it.
You're turning a like a repeat into an actual riff.
Yeah,
I call it.
Yeah,
because you're kind of riffing with it. Because you're doing it's a bit like muting on your desk or something, but you're doing it on the source sequence rather than on a desk output, which means you can do things like put a massive delay on the signal, and before that delay builds up to complete mess, it's just left to echo in the pause between the sequences.
I'm on the wrong. Hang on a sec. I'm going to slow this down. Here we go. I've just slowed the clock down.
Okay.
From Pam's.
Oh, you were doubled, were you?
I was quadrupled. I'm doubled now.
Yes, David.
Yes. So millions and millions of possibilities of this little baby here. And there's one more. There's the off-white. There's one more setting on this. The off-white. The off-white. Here we go.
Yeah.
There's the off-white.
Yep. This is a bit crazy because this one really was the experimental first mode I ever made. So it was just literally each CV was directly controlling the primary effect of either dividing the clock or doing the ratcheting. Sorry, holding the gate or doing the ratcheting.
Right.
So that one's a bit hard to control because it's not particularly intuitive. It's just very powerful.
Yeah.
So that's one. That's kind of like for if you really want to do something outside of the box and you don't necessarily want to understand exactly why what's happening is happening. So that's where you can do things like just chuck 2 different unsynchronized LFOs into each CV input and just fiddle and just see what comes out.
Yeah. And before we even finish talking about the clock stuff that it does, you've also got a precision adder on the right hand side.
Correct. Yeah, so that which I personally have been using to transpose the sequence.
Yep.
From the beat step or the key step.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, right?
Tell us more quickly.
Let's.
I alluded to this before.
Let's know
Andrew
about
and
this.
I've had discussions about this. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Tell us about how you do that.
Okay, so this is an old trick from like ARP 2600, so ARP 2500 days. Actually.
2500. Yep.
Yeah. So what you do is that you've got a standard sequencer playing CV signals, and then you've got a traditional CV keyboard.
Yep.
And both those voltages, if you put them into a precision adder,
Yep.
it will transpose the sequence up or down according to the volt.
Yeah.
Like it transposes up in CV land. So in 1 volt per octave land.
Yeah.
So you got both as long as both sequences are 1 volt per octave or the same standard anyway.
So let's do it.
Yeah. So you can, check it. Have you got the keys handy?
I have got.
Let's.
I have got Nifty Case CV, right? So Nifty Case CV is actually MIDI CV. So MIDI CV, which so basically I'm controlling the CV from a key step. And I could literally just go straight out of the back of the key step, by the way, but this is via MIDI, doesn't matter. So CV is pitch coming into there, and then the other one is...
I would take the output of the quantizer, not the input. So take the output of the quantizer into the Y input. I found I got better results post quantization.
The longer cable, people.
Right. Taking care.
Gonna need a bigger cable.
Yeah. Longer cable. Right. And then another.
And now to go back into your oscillator.
There used to be
X plus Y.
There used to be
yes.
There used to be a New Zealand Prime Minister called Ivor Longy. Yeah. So so that's correct, right? So we're doing.
I think so.
So
yes.
that. Okay. Yes. So now I should be able to transpose the sequence. Are we ready?
So
we are.
It could end up being very high frequency, I would suspect. Depending on what your last key played was.
Shit.
And perhaps... Ooh, are you missing a clock?
I haven't got it yet.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Now, why am I not hearing anything? Oh, because these are all muted, duh.
Yeah, that's... I warned you were going to get high frequencies because usually your CV output is left wherever your last... So you've got the Nifty keys, right?
Yeah.
On the Nifty keys, switch your octave down to the lowest it can go.
Mm-hmm.
And now hit your bottom C key. That'll give you the root note.
Got it.
So now play it again. And yeah. And then go up an octave.
There you go. Oh, okay, Booksy, you were asking me before about I think you were asking me about the tuner when you were saying portamento. I think you were hearing the quantizer.
No. I thought I could hear
portamento,
the notes slewing, but when you took something out and it clearly wasn't there, so it was an audio illusion that
it was. It's the decay of the envelope. Yeah. So there is a bit of quantized mangling going on there. You can hear it because don't forget
you get quantizer jumps.
Yeah, because if you don't get that's right on the right spot.
Yeah.
Really
to be perfectly honest, that isn't my favourite quantizer.
No, it's not mine either. But
HP one.
I have to fit the show. I have to fit the show in.
Well,
No, not criticising because I'm doing exactly the same thing. I'm using it here. It's just that I'm using it so much now. I know everything that I hate about it.
I've got
a lot of things I like about it too.
Actually, the quantizer that Brooksy's got is a good one. The one that he's got.
Yeah. Is that the dope for one?
I've got the dope
the dual.
Yeah, I've got the dope for dual quantizer. Again, there are things about it that slightly irritate me. There's a way apparently of making the two channels, because you've got channel 1 which is just chromatic, and then channel 2 which you can set in all different ways. And there's some kind of switch or one of those things that you pull off or whatever on the back of it, which
jumper.
That's the word, a jumper, which makes channel 1 the same as where's my jumper? Where's my jumper? Was that? Oh, who's saying where's my jumper?
I distracted you now.
I'm thinking the Beatles. I'm thinking Oompa.
Where's my jumper?
I
have any problems with that. I have the same quantizer. I use it with my touring machine. It works fine. So.
Yeah, I was going to.
It's the Behringer module.
I need another small quantizer. So I was another, which I was actually thinking about the 2 HP. Sultans of Pink. Thank you, Steve Elbows. Yeah.
What did you say?
It's the song "Where's My Jumper." Where's
Sultans
my jumper?
of Pink.
Yeah, it's a song, isn't it? That makes sense. That's where I would have got it from. I've so much 90s music has gone into my ear and out the other over the years.
I love that Roland sound. It's so good, isn't it?
Steve Elbows. Now transpose.
Where's my jumper? Oh, copyright problem. Yes.
Where's my jumper? Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, that is an exceptionally cool module. So yeah. Now, Chris,
thank you for saying that. Yeah.
Tell us about the future. So what's the plan, and when is this going to be released into the wild? The wild.
Okay, the plans could change. But at this point in time, my thoughts are to make sure that we get a little bit of beta testing done so that we can be pretty confident with that firmware, because as we alluded to before, upgrading the firmware is unfortunately a bit difficult to do in the field for every user without asking them to pay for a program module for them to source it themselves, which frankly is actually cheaper than I can get them. But yeah, so the idea is to get the firmware locked down a bit more and stable, and then I don't see any reason why I can't just at least there's going to be at least 8 or 9 available built, but I will have to I will be assembling, made to order, I think they call it. So but in my spare time I'll probably, if I'm getting pre-orders or something, but at this stage it's going to be available on my Etsy store. I will consider Ramsey.
Sorry.
I am considering doing an early bird type release thing. So if people are absolutely gagging for it, like Brooksy hit me up, so he got an early version and agreed to be a guinea pig because he was desperate for something like this, and Ramsey loves this kind of stuff, so he was desperate for it as well. So fair enough. I'm happy to work with people who want things earlier. But yeah, then I want to be in a more of a commercial situation where I can actually produce decent numbers and stuff like that. And that of course means spinning up a bit more manufacturing.
I have a question about that actually, Chris, because I'm just looking at this.
Because I'm just one person.
I'm going.
And they are hand built.
I am looking at this and going, is this really hand built? Because it's beautiful.
Oh, cool! Thank you.
The soldering. Not that I know anything about soldering, but it's so precise.
Soldering.
I also noticed. Shut up. It's got an L in it, and there's a.
Let him speak. Whack. Let him speak. Come on.
I noticed on this board here that there's an empty socket here. You got these two chips either side. There's an empty socket. I was wondering if there were further plans for that particular socket, and if so, what might they be? Are you allowed to say?
I can say that this is not the last. It is the first, but it's certainly not the last module I'm going to be manufacturing. So that chip is to do with what's probably coming next. I've hoping for 2 modules coming after this one, during this one's actual being actually sold, hopefully. There will be overlaps. I've got one module which is a fairly simple module, and it's fairly proven in my development system over there that I will be trying to manufacture first. And then I'm going to do something with that chip. It's going to be a dual 12-bit DAC. So it's going to be something involving 2 12-bit channels of analog signal. So stay tuned, and I don't want to reveal anything to you yet because I kind of haven't decided yet. But there are so many possibilities.
You don't have to.
How do you
it's different control panel, same CPU board. To be honest, I'm taking everything one quantum leap at a time.
Okay,
One thing to one thing to remember too is that, like, let's go back to the PG82, right? This sequencer is annoyingly simple. After you've probably played with it for a day, you're just like, you start to yawn because it really does have a very limited amount of what it can do. I mean, the way you patch it is kind of the magic with it, but it really is limited. And the first thing that you're going to say is, I wish this thing could ratchet. I wish this thing could do some of those more modern things that you see in sequencers, right? And now it can with this module. It's literally, all you have to do is just sit that next to it, patch it through, and then away you go. And the patching is relatively simple, the way Chris has explained it in the manual. Relatively simple. These knobs, yes, depending on the mode. This is a digital module, if you haven't worked out, by the way. But these modes, you need to know what color represents the mode. But 9 times that most people would probably just be in that first mode when they're playing with this, because that's pretty much what it's built for. And the other modes are kind of like, when you start to become a little bit more adventurous and you want to do, the Bernoulli and or whatever, that's where it starts to become a bit more fun.
Hey Chris, what's your Etsy channel? People are asking for the link.
No, we don't have that yet.
Yeah, no worries. I will get the Etsy link shortly.
You don't have it up yet? Okay. I mean, not for this, for other stuff that you have.
Yeah, we don't have that yet.
But I am. Let me just check, because I've set up my domain to point to it, I think. Let's have a look.
Why are you getting that sorted, Chris?
Maikshift Modular.
Why are you doing that? So just with this, guys, just bear in mind that Chris is currently in beta testing mode with this. So this is not actually a publicly available product just yet. He wants us and a few people who have played with the 182 module. They know it really well, so that it can put it through its paces. I mean, just before when he was talking, I was putting an LFO into the clock input just to sort of see how it would behave. So fast clocks and slow clocks and things like that. So it's pretty good. Like, you'd expect it to behave. I think in a sense that the only thing that's going to let this module down is the 182 module itself. It's not Chris's module. It's the 182 module, and it's because it's a faithful recreation of what Roland made in the 1970s. So the technology in that is really, like, it's kind of not. It didn't even know about some of the stuff we do in electronic music now, right? If you got to think about it that way. So the fact that he's got this thing, and he's, I don't know. Dare I say, Chris? Dare I say that this 182 module, how much are these, Brooksy, now? About 70, 80 pounds?
90 quid.
90 quid?
Something
right?
like that, yeah.
We don't know how much this is yet, so don't ask, okay? But that plus that is a damn sight cheaper than an IntelliJ Metropolis. And that pretty much gives you
the hope, yes.
And that pretty much gives you an IntelliJ Metropolis, not a Metropolix, not the new one, but the original one, the Metropolis, right? And that is going to be,
and
a cool thing.
And also the cool thing is that it's patched rather than manufactured as one single sequencer. You can muck about with it and make it do things that it wasn't really designed to do.
Yeah, which is what we're going to do. So give us. I mean, what we're saying here is, you guys are seeing it. You're excited. We're excited. Don't worry, we're all excited. But it's a little bit like, give us a chance to sort of see what this thing can do. I'm going to be putting this thing through its paces. In fact, I'm actually going to be seeing what it can do with the Metropolis. It's one of the things I told Chris I'll be doing.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's because you can ratchets.
Well, I'm going to have to say
it's really commendable.
Ratchet. Was that Roger Ratchet? Yeah.
It's really
I'm going to try
commendable.
with the
Chris,
Depth
what
for
you
Dark
worked
Time at
on.
some point because
cheers.
I had to buy a Depth
Thanks,
for
Ian.
Ratchet module for it.
Right.
So
Now, go on, Ian. Go.
No, I've said it. I'll just repeat it. I was just saying how commendable I think it is that Chris has done all this work. Because manufacturing is not easy, and it takes time to do this sort of stuff. And so,
it's quality.
Well
it really
done.
is. Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. That was the first thing I said to Chris when I
Can
looked
I
it
ask
up.
a quick question? Chris?
Go.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Andy's asking, can it work with the Metropolis? Can you use it with the Metropolis in any way?
Rads and I see no reason why it can't.
I don't think you'll
not
have a problem with it.
We're not entirely sure what it's going to do.
Just bear in mind.
It does our heads in.
Just bear in mind that the Metropolis doesn't have the same connectivity that the 182 does. So that's going to be where I might have to scratch my head a bit.
Yeah.
So there might be, for example, I might need to use a voltage block and a Metropolis to be able to achieve the same thing. Or maybe I might use a voltage block and a variegate with your module to achieve. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of things that we can try. But yeah, one of the reasons is because you've got all these CV controls on the right that do functions like, for example, ratchet, mute, and gate, right? Or left is gate, top is mute, and right is ratchet. And then on other modes, it does other things. So the Metropolis module is, let me get it out. It's here somewhere. It's different in its layout, right? It's a different layout. So let's have a look at the Metropolis module, people. This is the original, not the new one. I am making that very clear to everyone. Okay, so there's the Metropolis module. I don't have the CV control of that right-hand lane there out on this. I don't think I've only got one pitch output.
Well, there's
on
two
this.
aux-ins. Can we?
There's two aux-ins that I can manipulate things with. Yeah, you can assign aux to things. Okay, but this is the thing. So don't expect this thing to be like doing funky stuff to this yet. This is just a thought that we've had, and it's nowhere near developed for that. So that's the problem. Okay, so I'm going to paste the link to his Etsy shop. Give me a sec. Let me just see if it works. Yay, no. Copy, link. Sorry guys. It's in the chat. Etsy shop. Ready, set, go.
Yeah, sorry, I pasted it before, but I can't paste links. So, and I'm not sure what was the best way to get it out.
Yeah, I mean, watch
that space.
We're not on. The cool thing about Chris being in the same city as me, we can get things done pretty quickly together. Same time zone, not that far apart in terms of travel time. It's if we need to meet up, things like that, we can do stuff. So there won't be a problem there. And I don't think. I mean, like I said, there's Maleko's variegate, there's the voltage block, there's the Metropolis, I'm thinking there's other sequences. And here's the 960 from Behringer, the what do you call it? The
960
Moog,
clone.
the Moog one.
Moog style sequencer. Yep.
So
that'll be interesting.
That'll be interesting. And both Brooksy and I have that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Brooksy, do you have the additional module for that too? That
Yeah, I do.
okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got that courtesy of Wagyu, actually. Thanks, Wagyu.
And I'm just thinking there's another sequence in here that I've got. I just kind of can't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, so yeah, let's have a play and see what we can come up with. Who knows? There might end up being another mode. You know, there might be a Metropolis mode or something.
Yes, we may. Well, there are configuration pages which I haven't shown anyone yet. Specifically, some of them to do with working with the 960.
Yeah.
So I'll be communicating those to the beta group, and we'll work through those.
Yeah.
There are more options available, just depending on how much room I have left in the firmware.
So
we can add more.
The only question I guess I had was because we're using that right-hand lane to do certain functions with the sequencer, right? It means that we can only use the left-hand lane. Like so, this can be a 16 step sequencer.
Exactly.
In its own
I've
right.
never used it in 16 steps.
I've never used it in 16 either. But people do use it in 16, right? So that means that it basically creates that limitation that 182 can only be an 8-step sequencer, right? In that sense, is that right, Chris? Would I have that right?
Yeah. In the configuration, in order to provide you with the way those knobs line up.
Yeah.
But someone has already mentioned that you could buy 2 182 sequences.
Right.
I don't have 2 personally, so I haven't explored that. But
you could have
it's an interesting
8,
possibility.
Or you could just have 8 potentiometers mounted on a PCB.
You could make a kind of an expander or a version of another module that is the 182 combined with a set of additional pots, so that you don't need to butcher your 182's capabilities.
Then you could run that
possible.
in series mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it could go anywhere.
Well, it's interesting. Sorry, Chris. I was going to say I've got 182 in here. Actually, I don't know if you can I move that round so that you can see that better up there. Right. There you go. Oh, so bloody thing in the lower case, there's the 182 and the synth voice, the 110 synth voice that Ramsey has been using. Yeah, the 110.
Yeah.
But if you look above in the upper case, in the bottom row there,
960.
That's almost no. I mean in the lower row.
Sorry.
That's all of the rest of the System 100M System 100 modules. But I will quite like another 182 sequencer to keep that as a complete system, if you know what I mean. Because I've only got the one, and it's been used for a specific job down here. So I'm thinking of getting another one. So just for completeness' sake. So anyway, there we are. But yeah, you can see the 960s up in the that corner there.
Takes up a lot of HP, that thing, doesn't it? Yeah.
It does. But the thing is, the 960s
will come out of that rack.
The 960s different to the 182, like a lot different.
Very different.
I kind of feel like you actually make different music with a 960 than you do with a 182. That's the way I see it. Yes. You probably can get them to do both the same thing, but it would be not very many things similar. It would be some basic things similar, right? And I kind of feel like your 960 is your quintessential Tangerine Dream style stuff, right? Whereas your 182, it can be real sort of techno acid, more trance, Berlin school. So it kind of heads down that route. And now you've got this GP82 module that you've done, Chris. It turns it into, a very modern sequencer, which is actually really exciting for people. And like we said before, £70, what is it, 160, 170 bucks Australian for the 182 module in Australia. It's probably around $100 US, right, Andy? for that Behringer module.
Oh, the 182.
Yep.
Actually was on sale recently for $80.
$80. Wow,
Oh,
what
wow.
a cheap sequencer.
It's
That
tempting
is-
to just
that
get
is
some.
insane, isn't it? Hey, it's tempting to get another one. Yeah, I seriously thought about getting another one too.
Check.
Yeah. Okay.